Alright, this is to explain how to open a canister for a DC-17. And the DC-17 is a very good Dyson vacuum, but I will tell you that to clean these things takes a lot more than just pushing the button, letting this fall out. At the minimum, of course, that's what you need to do periodically. But when you're outside over the garbage can, I would definitely push this button and separate the top from the canister, because dust and fur and everything in here will get caught in these little holes. And you may even have to use your hand to remove them from these holes here, because it really affects the suction power of the vacuum. I will tell you also that it is very important that if these cyclones get clogged, not to use water. You would think, okay, I use water, let it dry a few days. Nah. If you use water, it will not all the way dry out. And I'll tell you, the smell that'll come from it is rank. Trust me, I've tried it. But let me go over the way to open this canister. This is a canister that's fully contained right now, and I'm not going to take the container off this one because, as you see, it has dust in it. But when these things are together, it is very confusing on how you would take this thing apart. Now, I've shown before how you can take a screwdriver and pry up under here, but I'm going to teach you a much easier way so you don't damage the container. And what you're going to do is, once you get the plastic container all the way off, is you're going to place this on the floor sort of like this, and you're basically going to push the container. Now, it may feel like it's going to break, but it's not. What's going to happen is it's going to pop the seal. There's a seal here, and it will pop it. And you'll maybe have to rotate it around a little bit like this on the floor, pushing to get the most leverage to pop this out. And once it pops out, the top of it is going to look like this. And this is where the problem arises in the Dysons. As you can see, they're very small and dust can get clogged in here. That's another reason it's so important, even before it gets to the max line, to keep your vacuum dumped out. Keep it clean. As it backs up in the canister, it's more likely for these to get clogged. But even if you do, these are small, so it's very likely that these will get clogged. The newer Dyson vacuums even have smaller. Oh, we have more suction capacity because we have more cyclones. If you notice, sure, they're putting more cyclones, 20, 30, 40, whatever they got. But when they do that, look at the size of the cyclone. They're smaller. That means these are smaller, which means it's more prone to being clogged. So, you know, in some respects, the older models may be a little better as far as maintenance. I'm not saying the new ones don't have more suction or aren't better, but it's something to think about. So, this particular part also is held together by 8 star screws. And I don't know if you can see them in there, but there are 8 silver screws. Here's one deep inside. My tool's touching it. Hopefully you can see it. If not, sorry. But if you don't have to, I would not take those apart. But if you do have to, it's a good way to get this. A lot of times the dust will be right here. You can just pull it out and it'll come out in long strands. So once you take that apart, then you're going to have this. And this, first of all, let me just explain also. When you pop that apart, there's going to be a seal, and it's going to be silicone right here, okay? I would try to keep that intact, because you're going to want to keep that and push it back into where the setting is in there when you put it back together. This does help to create the airtight seal. So try not to damage this as you're taking it apart. It is somewhat glued to the other piece, but again, it's more like a giant gasket, and you want to seat it back in there if you can. It's still a little bit damp for me cleaning it. In this piece, you're going to have these two parts. Inside these parts, you'll have 4 star screws. Now, it's real important. You're not going to be able to use a screwdriver or Phillips head. These are specially designed tools. If you don't have one, before you try this, you will need to get one. It will not work with standard Phillips head. If you don't know what size, I am not sure, to be honest with you. Probably best to buy a set of these. There are other things like in cars and chairs and different things. Even computers sometimes use these strange things. And I would also caution you, it's best not to buy a kit where you have the little pieces that go into a device. You'll need something with a long head on it like this, maybe even longer, because when you go to reach into that, you'll need it long so you can actually get a good seat onto the screw. If not, you'll be at an angle or you won't be able to reach it. So this one's not that hard to reach, and you're going to unscrew these. They're deep in there, and there'll be 4 of these, as I said. And I'll show you again. They look like regular screws, but the head of it is different. It is a star shaped. So this will allow you to take this piece apart and to get into here and clean it very good. Okay? So you're going to put it back together the same way, and then all you do with these 2 pieces here is they will snap right back together. Just be sure when you snap it back together that you have it in the proper location for the canister release button. And it's very easy to see. You'll see how that lines up, and it will go together properly. But you must be sure that it's in the proper position, because if you have it off a little bit this way or off a little bit that way, it will not work when you go to put it back into your machine. Okay? If there's any doubt, you can test it before you actually snap it back together. And again, all it's going to take is a good snap back together. And it was going to be a little hard. You're going to have to snap it back together. You're going to have to use your hands here and push down on it, and it will snap back together. I'm going to have to dry this a little further. And maybe I'll have another video or attached to this one on actually showing you putting it back together. Again, do not use water. Do not use water. And these things are really prone to getting clogged. Now this will basically go for most of their machines. This is the DC-17, but most of their machines have the same principle with the cyclones and take away the same thing and have the strange star type screws. So this will work on most of their machines. If you have any questions, post them below. I'll try to check periodically and be able to answer you. Be careful. This may not, but it could void your warranty, because it is taking it apart further down. But again, the main thing is the maintenance, is just to keep that thing dumped out and take it completely apart when you dump it, cleaning out the air holes of the inside part of the machine, the canister. Take the canister all the way out. It is okay if you take the canister all the way off that you use water on this alone, okay? But you have to let it dry very good before you put it back. Of course, the other filters inside the machine, they're okay to use water, and in fact they actually show you using water, and that filter is going to be located differently on different models, but on this model the filter is located under here. Mine's cleaning right now, but it's simply, these just pry off, and the filter here is something that you do want to clean every 6 months or so. It may be shorter, it may be longer, depending on how you take care of your machine. Alright, thank you very much, and good luck. Okay, let's just watch this again very carefully, because I want to make sure that you know how to put this thing back together. Watch very carefully as you take everything apart. Look at it very carefully. When you take off the canister, the clear canister part, I want you to be very aware of how everything lines up to the part here, because the back part is going to have a notch, okay? Notch where, excuse me, the notch is actually here, okay, and it pushes a little bit. The notch is going to push, so it allows it to click into the back, or which is actually the front of the canister. This is actually the front of the canister right here. So you have to make sure that that notch is to the front of the machine. The back of the machine will have a two-step looking plastic piece here. Again, look at it very carefully when you take it apart, because that's going to be how you put it back together. Once you take it apart, as I showed earlier, this has to be done on the floor, prying this piece out. I want you to be very careful, because these two pieces that I was showing you earlier that are held together with a star are screwed into the top. So you're going to take your star, and what I want to show you is very important on reinstallation. That's why I'm adding this part at the end. When you go to put this back together, be very aware that there's really only one way that this will fit flat. And it has to fit flat because these screws actually go through these two pieces into the third, which is this part here. And when they come apart, I want you to look very carefully, because there's arrows. The arrows designate the front of the machine. The arrows on this piece and this piece should be pointed the same direction, and it will line up so that your star screw will go through these two pieces into the top. Okay. If you have it on wrong, it will look like that. There'll be a gap between where the screw goes into and this piece here. Okay? You should not have that gap. And when you look at those arrows again, it's really pretty simple, because those arrows point to the front of the machine. And when you get those arrows exactly pointed the correct way, just give me a second here, then your machine will actually, or the screws will actually fit flat onto that part. And you see it, it's not that easy. That's why I wanted to do this again. I want to show you. There you go. It's flat. There's no gap. You have to push it down a little bit between where the screws go through, set deep into there, through that other plastic white piece into the gray piece, which is your top. Okay? Just make sure. If something doesn't go together right, it's not the end of the world. Just unscrew it and try it again. But just go slowly, taking it apart, and then once you get that part back on correctly, this piece, which is again very important to put it back correctly, the two-step piece that sticks out will be toward the back of the machine, or your button. The front of the machine has the little button that pushes in, which fits into the groove in the front, which is in the inside, of course, but it's the front part of the vacuum. Alright? So hopefully that clears it up, because I don't think it was exactly clear in the first part. That's why I want you to watch the second part. Thank you.